All right, Ariel. Let's do it. We're going to do warm-up, some exercises, and then some bar chord stuff, because bar chords are an absolute pain. My warm-up, and this has been my warm-up for a very long time, and the only thing that has changed is the speed, and I'll explain why and how. But if we're not fast, what we don't want to do is use a heavy set of musculature. You can think about it like waking up in the morning, and then like if I were going to do like a long run, I wouldn't want to wake up in the morning when everything's really tense and run as fast as I can, right? Because that's going to like tire me out. We want to start as slow as possible. This is almost like movement stretching. It's sort of the way that I think about it. So go as light as possible. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Make sure we're not using any extra muscle. We're using our thumb to, and I know that you do that because I have seen you play, but the reason is that muscle is super strong. So that's really the bulk of our strength, right? And that's going to come in handy when we talk about bar chords, but that's the bulk of our strength. And these need to be strong, yes, to move around fast and efficiently, but this isn't like the bulk of our strength. So really we just want to get things moving, right? And get our thumb back there. You know, nice and easy. Same with this hand. I'm only moving as much as I need to. Now, I anchor with my ring finger and my pinky. What that means is that takes like any of the tension away from here. I want this to be as relaxed as this hand. And our elbow is just not made for making those small movements. So I anchor there. Sometimes I'll palm mute, but just like behind the string, sort of like back here. As well, just to make sure that I'm going as light as possible. Focusing on this sort of like thumb in and out, right? And it's just kind of like rolling over those strings. So I'll do that as light as possible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now I can, the goal is to be as light as you can. But you do want to push the speed. This is really interesting. Because if you can do this, which I'll do it at this speed if I'm cold or I haven't played for a while, just to get things moving. It's also pretty warm here right now. But I want to press that sort of line of how fast I can go without tensing up, right? So if I can get away with being really relaxed, right, and the notes are all coming through, not little skip notes, then I'll do that. As long as I'm relaxed, it's a really good thing to sort of build up to, because we want to be able to move quickly and efficiently without squeezing. So that's like why that warm up is really good and sort of push the speed on it. I go first fret down and back, second fret down and back. I go all the way up to the 12th fret and then all the way back down again. So it takes a while, but I love it. And I've been doing that forever since I was a beginner and like barely getting those notes super slow. My next exercise that I really love, if this is too much, I don't think it is. I don't know, because I've seen you play. So I don't think it would be, but it can be for people who just haven't done the exercise. It doesn't mean that you're deficient in any of your playing. It just means that you haven't done this particular exercise. But I really like it. You do the same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you leave your fingers down. You only move the finger that's next and ready to go. Same deal. What we're going to want to do, because we're used to sort of lifting our finger up like this, like our fingers that aren't playing, you're going to want to you're going to want to squeeze in to keep those fingers down. Light. Again, really, really light. I sort of do that. And then I rest. I'm like, okay, got it. 1 finger at a time. Right? And it takes some coordination. Right? You're at this point, I can do it sort of on autopilot. I've been doing it forever. One of the joys of being old, I've been doing it forever, so I can sort of do it on autopilot, but there is like a mental block where you are moving this finger, but you're also seriously thinking about each one of these fingers staying where they are. That's a great exercise, just keeping your fingers efficient and low to the fretboard. It helps with absolutely everything, chord changes, playing fast, and just playing efficiently. I really like that one. Again, I do that one. That's going to be, if you're not squeezing too hard, if you feel like almost like you're lifting weights while you're doing it, that is cool too, right? Because you're just getting used to the exercise, but give yourself a break there. Like if things start moving slow and you can feel yourself over squeezing, it's not going to be bad if you're over squeezing, because you're still building those muscles, but that isn't like the efficiency muscle. That's like the strength muscle. So this exercise can sort of do both. If you're relaxed, can really build that sort of quick reflex efficiency muscle, and then if you are like over squeezing just a little bit, it'll build the strength muscle, as long as you're not hurting yourself, which I wouldn't imagine you'd be doing. Those exercises great. Another one that I really like with with sort of distributing the sort of power, I guess, between your fingers is your first finger is always going to be easy. In theory, if your fingers were reversed, and this was actually like the smallest one, it would still be the strongest, or if this was the weakest finger, like as if it was your pinky, the smallest, it would be the strongest still, just because of the way your hand is sort of shaped here. So we're never really going to need help with our first finger. What we're going to do is we're going to pick first, second, first, second, first, second, first, second finger, first, third, first, third, first, third, first, third, first, fourth. Okay, and then we're going to do a hammer on a pull off. And then immediately switch to anchoring with our second finger. So then we do second, third, second, third, second, third, second, third, second, fourth, second, fourth, second, fourth, second, fourth, and then turn it into hammer on a pull off. And then the last one, the hardest one, is ring finger. All right, this one is great. You can do it as much as you'd like, but what it really does is it helps reset where we think the sort of anchoring finger is. Now, our pinky never gets to be an anchor because we never play behind where the pinky's down, right? So the first finger is usually always the anchor. Honestly, even if our second finger's down, our first finger can still be the anchor. So it doesn't really need help. So we're sort of just working out the dexterity with those fingers. So picking through, and then right, and then switching, and then lastly, right? If you can get that pattern down and doing it more, that'll be a nice strength building. You will get tired, like you're gonna feel your finger slowing down, so that's a good thing as long as nothing hurts. That's like a really great exercise. So that's a bulk of the exercises that I do. Another great thing is just if you do want to switch anything up, doing like a 1, 4, 2, 3, right? So I might do like 1, 4, 2, 3, just that pattern. And again, this sort of like distributes like 1 to 2. If I'm anchoring with my first finger and going right to my second finger, that like tends to be easy, but this tends to be a little harder, right? So just that pattern is like is pretty cool to mess around with, and you can move it around as much as you like. Let's talk about bar chords, because this gives so much trouble to so many people, and I remember me as well. And to be honest, if I'm not really thinking about it, it still does. If I play live, I move my hand around a lot to not have to hold this bar chord position for too long, because it kills that muscle right there. The best way is to not think of the bar chord as capoing down, right? So you're squeezing and you're capoing. I'm surprised that I even got all 6 of those strings to come through. I have like higher action and I use pretty thick strings. But still, like, that's just like really hard to do. Let's think of it the other way, right? If I was to do this sort of A bar chord, get these fingers ready. Sound nice and clear. And just lay your first finger down. Get that sound. Okay? And then sort of feel it out, right? Press down on the top, not the bottom. And then eventually like the bottom, right? And what you'll realize is you're sort of curving down, right? If I do this, if I bring, even that. If I bring these fingers up, I don't need to cover those anymore, right? So I'm not focusing on really hammering down this. What happens in that case is that these fingers start pulling back, losing strength, pulling back, and just making that sound. We might as well get these to sound clear because it's a little easier and build from there, okay? So that's a really great way to think about it. And then anytime I go from, let's say, an A major to an A minor, my middle finger immediately helps out my first finger. And it's impossible for me to play that bar chord without my middle finger helping out. which is like a trick to try, just because we have to get not just those one, like the sixth, the first and the second string to sort of come through with our first finger, but we have to get that third as well, that third string. So I do that. Another little trick that I might try is I'll put my first finger directly on the fret bar and then roll it back just a little bit so that the strings are sort of hitting this harder part of your finger. Another little trick to try that'll get away from like trying to squeeze that down. We need bar chords to be easy because we have to move them. If we're over squeezing anything that we're doing, okay, let's say I have two chords, you know. If I'm squeezing, right, I'm basically just going from point A to point B, right? And that might be this much of like a figurative movement. If I'm squeezing too much, I'm squeezing, gradually letting go, lifting up, moving to the next chord, and then playing it, and then squeezing too much, and then to let off that chord, coming back, right? So taking something that's only that much movement, if we're squeezing too much, it's like doubling the movement and the effort, and then we get tired and we slow down. So let's try to make it as easy as possible. One thing that's really difficult, especially for adult students to do, is to play those bar chords, or this one, without pressing down their first finger. I'm just letting my first finger sort of ride, right? That, just to feel what it's like to apply pressure with my other fingers and let that be a little bit more relaxed, because we're always going to squeeze the shit out of that one, and we don't have to. And that's what makes bar chords so difficult, is that we're always focusing on that first finger and squeezing the shit out of it, basically thinking like whatever I'm doing, one finger, one note, one string, right? What we think about here is one finger, 6 notes, 6 strings, even though we only need it for 3 notes. Another trick, okay, is if I turn back this way, if I play this bar chord, what I'm actually doing is I get those strings like sort of ready. I'll apply pressure here. Now I'm not pushing down. That's going to make where these strings line up on this finger really, really hard to get the right note. So what I'm doing is I'm lifting up just a little bit, right? And I'm still curled over, so my finger's like a little bit above, right? I'm really focused on just pressing down here, which takes 0 effort, right? Cool. To get those bottom strings to come through, I'm just sort of pulling back. I'm not squeezing this hand in to get those bottom strings, right? I'm pressing down here, right? Making it optimal for the bottom strings, because it doesn't matter, honestly, where I'm pressing here. I'm going to be able to press that top string with my first finger, right? That'll be nice and easy. Press down, get those next few strings, and then I'm just pulling back, like pretty much with my arm, right? And then that's how it can take minimal effort to get those bar chords. Let me know if that helps. Oh, to add, the last one, the major one here. Big thing is I never worry about the bottom string for this, right? That one's always blocked out. So really what I'm doing is my thumb is a little bit more behind that finger to distribute that weight evenly, and then my first finger can stretch, you know, because it's just like gonna always be the strongest. That's how I play it. Some people do those. I can't. To be honest, I've been playing for so long, I can't. That's just too much movement and too much of a stretch to get to very quickly, you know. So let me know if that all helps. I really enjoyed doing this video, and now the sun is setting. But let me know if that works.